Hello, this is Nick with IndieGameBundles.com, your number one spot for information about all indie bundles. In this episode of 10 Indie Minutes, we'll be looking at Syder Arcade, the very first release by a development studio called Studio Evil, based in Italy, and it's a shmup. And we looked at Really Big Sky last time, which is a twin-stick shooter. This is a bit of a different variety of a similar formula. So you'll notice right away probably one of the most striking things are the graphics in Syder Arcade. Very consistently well done art in this game. Everything shines and looks beautiful, and I actually have this running in 1680 by 1050, which is absolutely crisp and HD looking. So in addition to the graphics looking really great all the time, you can actually change a bunch of filters, which is a really cool touch, where they actually let you swap out the look of the entire game, and there's about 20 of these things. And you can make it look like an Amiga or a Game Boy or an Apple II, like a whole bunch of different options. And I'll just quickly scroll through those. But we're going to play primarily today in the nice modern aesthetic. Hercules, look at that. I find that a lot of these graphical filters, although they're really kind of cool novelties, I think they sort of take a little bit away from the game. But regardless, let's jump in. There's a campaign and a survival mode. The survival just has one level, campaign has 6 levels, and generally decent. I don't know, I have some mixed opinions, but I actually will get into the game and then explain why. And why some of them need to be tempered a little bit, because I think this game isn't quite everything that it appears to be on the surface. So you get to choose from 3 different ships, the standard trade-offs between, power in your weapon versus speed and armor. This one, the slow tank that has really good armor and uses a spreading plasma gun. The generally average ship with the fast-firing machine gun. And then we've got the Dart, which has good speed, average armor, and a pulse laser. Tough to decide. I've been using the middle guy, the Wasp, but we're gonna go with the plasma gun wielder this time, the Mule, just to mix things up. So this is a story-driven shmup, and there's actually a lot more to it than you might think, because this is actually, although it's the first game that's being developed by the studio, or actually released by the studio, there's another game that they're working on that this is the prequel to, called Syder Universe, which actually features a lot of the same conventions, at least as far as I can tell, except it's a procedurally generated RPG. So keeping that in mind, and knowing that this is more like a love letter to the shmups of yesteryear that were extremely hard and retro, and that kills me. So we've got your usual power-ups, speed, and, better weapons and all that. And there's a repair one, and occasionally you will run into some really big boss enemies. And I have the difficulty set way up, so that's why I'm taking like one-shot kills like that, which is actually way too hard for me. So that was an almost instant game over. We're gonna actually head back to the title screen and we're gonna fix that. Well, let's try a different ship too. And some of the levels have different objectives. There's one I saw that you actually have to defend a ship in the background, which is kind of a cool touch. Oh yeah, that feels much better. I can actually cut right through these guys now. When I was playing it on the second highest difficulty, shooting the enemies seemed kind of arduous, like you were beating on them, sort of like shooting them with raindrops, and they were just sort of slowly degenerating. They weren't actually taking much damage. But then they were just returning fire and killing me instantly. This feels a bit more satisfying and maybe a little bit more correct or appropriate, at least for my abilities. So I've gotten some homing missiles, and you'll see a ship life bar has just appeared. And I'm going to be targeting that ship as soon as I can. And just for the hell of it, let's pop my laser cannon, which I kind of missed with. But yeah, all three of the ships have their own specific special. Not necessarily a screen clearing special or anything, but definitely helpful. So from what I can tell, that changing the difficulties primarily affects your damage and their damage. But other than that, it seems to be pretty similar. And I haven't tried applying it to survival mode, but that might be something to do as well. Oh yeah, it's much easier to stay alive now, because before I was just taking a couple of shots from one of these volleys of lasers, and it was pretty much putting me down. So it's sort of a unique feature that you can switch back and forth in your viewpoints. I've only seen a handful of games that do that. One of them being like Fantasy Zone, if you remember that one. Oh, the laser's much nicer powered up. And my health's not lasting very long. You just kind of head back and forth looking for new things to shoot as they appear on your map in the top right corner. And you primarily just want to get the highest score possible, because that's really what this is about. It's a very much retro style game, very much score focused, and you'll see the ending, the way each time goes, you basically just are working on multipliers and trying to get everything going up as much as possible, and you get little badges for things that will add to your score, or if your difficulty's too low, it will actually subtract from your score. That's more like it. And eventually we will trigger a boss battle, which will round out this episode. And I believe that would be it over here. We've got some turrets, we've got all kinds of enemy fire to deal with. Get my navigation skills up to snuff here. Oh yeah. Let's see if I get hit all three of them at the same time, that's good. And it's going to keep spawning more guys and missiles and bullets. And we'll just work down that life bar little by little. Much more tolerable being able to fight this boss with more health, because pretty much every other difficulty mode has you dead in a couple seconds. Oh, although I still might be headed in that direction any moment now. Kind of cool that it makes you think in both directions, since you have enemies spawning in both sides and heading towards you. You need to actually be thinking strategically which side you want to be on at a given moment. And again, the visuals are very beautiful. The background is very sort of distracting, and not in a bad way. I just want to keep looking at it. Ugh. That's rough. Well, you can see I add up my score here. Get a bunch of little mini achievement badges, which contribute towards the overall total. Got quite a few of them, actually. Oh, and then Tourist multiplies it down by 0.1. So in campaign mode you get 3 lives, survival mode you get 1. And that's pretty much how it goes. 6 levels, 4 difficulty modes, 3 ships. There's actually quite a bit to do, although the pacing is a bit on the slow side, so probably won't be able to fit too much into our 10 minutes of indie time today. But I would urge you, check out the demo, which is available on the website, or just skip right to the game and just pick it up. It's $7.99 on various digital distribution platforms. So as this ship will probably murder me, I will bring this episode to a close. I actually beat it. So thank you for watching another episode of 10 Indie Minutes, and make sure to head on over to indiegamebundles.com so you can stay up on all the newest indie bundles. Thanks for watching, guys. See you next time.